helps itches, girl. Yeah, I remember back in 2012 when we used to. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie, or Albany, whichever you are more comfortable with. Here on my channel, we do mom talk, beauty talk, and mental health. So if those are some things you are interested in improving in your life, or you're interested in contributing to other people's lives, then join us here on this channel. I'm trying to create kind of a back and forth community of women who are just open with each other and talk about our experiences through life, because women are wonderful. Women are powerful, and I think we are something to be celebrated. So that's what I want to do here on this channel, is just create an awesome community of women who love other women and want to empower other women. With that being said, one of the most wonderful things that women are able to do is breastfeed. It is so wonderful to me that our bodies naturally create everything that we need for our babies, especially for our babies, with those antibodies that they need and just all the other health benefits that our babies and us mothers get from breastfeeding, and we don't even have to think twice about it. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys a little bit about my breastfeeding journey so far. My son and I are 6 months into this, and we've had some ups and downs, and I just want to kind of share with you guys the ins and outs of my experience. And while I'm sharing my experience with you guys, I'm just going to be telling you guys a few tips and tricks that have helped us along the way, some advice that I have from you, some things that really helped my supply, and just the ways that I got through this. So if you're interested in seeing how we overcame some of these battles and some of the advice that I have for you, then stay tuned and we are going to jump right into it. Before we dive into the video, I just want to put a little disclaimer out there that I am by no means a breastfeeding expert. I am not an expert, you guys. This is just my own experiences, what I've learned from other mothers and lactation consultants and doctors. I'm going to be sharing with you that knowledge that I have. It may not work for everybody, but just take what advice you can and apply it to your life, and as well as share your ideas with me so that I can be better educated as well. I'm also by no means talking down on any mothers who weren't able to go through with breastfeeding or who chose not to. A fed baby is better than nothing at all. So I support moms in all of their decisions, and regardless of how you choose to feed your baby, being a mom is a tough job, and I know there comes ups and downs with however you choose to feed your baby. So I am by no means talking down on any of those mothers, and I hope that you guys do not take this that I am downing anyone who formula feeds. I actually tried formula with Kingston a few times and it just didn't work for us. So I understand that everything is not always going to be suitable for your family. I just wanted to throw that out there before we got started in this video, just so nobody takes anything that I say the wrong way. So I have a little list here of everything that I want to go over. If you catch me glancing down, that's what I'm doing. I don't want to forget anything. So let's go ahead and run through the list. Tip number 1, take some classes. When I was pregnant, I went through over 20 hours of classes, different things as far as parenting, as far as taking care of a baby, and even breastfeeding. I took classes through different organizations, one being the Pregnancy Help Center, one being through WIC, and also through my hospital that I delivered at, I took some classes. So finding just those different resources within your community where you can take classes. All of the classes that I took were for free. I didn't pay not a lick, not a penny, not a dime, not a quarter. I ain't paying nothing. So look into some of those resources in and out of your community. That will really help you kind of just understand the basics and know how to get started, know what you're going to need to get started. As well as you can probably meet some great people in those classes. This brings me to my second tip for you guys, is the Pregnancy Health Center here in my community was amazing. Through taking these classes, I got brand new a nursing cover, a pack and play, and a high chair. All 3 brand new and free to me just for completing the class. Then on top of that, you get what they call baby bucks each time you come to class. And those baby bucks you're able to use in their boutique. Their boutique is filled with donations, and some of the things that you can find in there are even brand new. Everything from as far as baby clothes, baby shoes, blankets, crib sheets, bottles, socks, books, baby equipment, even things for the mother like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, body wash, just everything you could really think of, they have in their little boutique, and it's all free to you because you're using the baby bucks they gave you to purchase it. So look into that in your community. See if there's a place like the Pregnancy Help Center. You can honestly just look up Pregnancy Help Center. You should come up with some organizations in and around your area. You need to set a plan for yourself for breastfeeding, how you manage to go about it. Do you want to breastfeed forever? Do you want to just do it for a few weeks? Do you want to just do it in the hospital? Are you going to pump? Are you going to only pump? Are you going to only nurse? how are you gonna go about this? You can even supplement with formula sometimes, so just having a game plan. But the kicker here is, you guys, have an open mind. Be prepared to maybe change up the plan a little bit. Maybe add in something that you didn't think you were going to do at first, or maybe take something away that you thought was going to work for your family, but it actually didn't. Just have a game plan, but be very open-minded to changing paths along the way to make those adjustments that are gonna suit your family. When I was pregnant, I thought I was only going to breastfeed for a month. I wanted to do it for a month of my maternity leave and spend the second month of my maternity leave transitioning Kingston onto some formula so that I could go back to work. Well, that didn't work out for us. Kingston wasn't able to digest formula very well, and he had a very upset stomach, wasn't able to go to the bathroom, and it really hurt me to watch him be in pain, knowing my body was producing everything he needed, and the only reason I wanted to quit was honestly just pure laziness on my end. I just didn't want to do it. So I then changed my game plan a little bit, and here we are 6 months into it, still going strong. So sometimes the game plan that you initially set isn't what you're going to actually end up doing, and that's okay. That being said, tip number 4 is that it always does get better. Those things that you worry about, those things that you stress about, it eventually gets better. Kingston wouldn't take a bottle for a few months. It took us until we got to, I think, 2.5, 3 months, he was able to take a bottle. So for those first few months, I felt very overwhelmed, like I couldn't ever get a break. I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean the house, I couldn't do dishes, I couldn't leave and go out for just a few hours. So it does get better. Now I'm able to go to work, now I'm able to go have a night out, I'm able to run to the grocery store, I'm able to cook and clean. So those things do get better. The cluster feeding that they do throughout their different growth spurts does get better. So tip number 5 is to know that cluster feeding is real and know that cluster feeding doesn't last forever. So cluster feeding is what happens when babies are going through growth spurts. It's actually where they nurse back to back to back to back, like they may eat and then 20 minutes later they need to eat again, and then the next 30 minutes and then 40 minutes and then back to 20. They just kind of eat very sporadically back to back to back. So your body does this really cool thing that when a baby is nursing or when you pump, basically the more stimulation that your breasts get, your body thinks, okay, so we need to produce more milk, we need to produce more milk, we need to produce more milk. And the same in return that if you slow down, if you don't nurse as much or you don't pump, then your body thinks, oh, hold up, we don't need all that milk. And it slows down your supply. So it's a supply on demand thing, and cluster feeding doesn't last forever, but it allows your milk supply to increase for those growth spurts that your baby will go through. Hey girl, I really like to talk with my hands. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to tone that down and keep my hands down here below the camera. And that is tip number 6. Never miss a feed or a pump. So if baby is ready to eat, you need to feed them. But sometimes baby might be sleeping or baby might be occupied, but you've realized that 2-3 hours have gone by. Oh no, you don't want to hit that 4 to 6 hour mark. You want to pump or nurse. I would say about every 3 hours. You can even get more regular on it and do every 2 hours. That will help you have a great supply, but I definitely never go over 3, and then max is definitely 4. If you don't nurse and you don't pump, your body thinks you don't need the milk, and guys, you do. Tip number 7 is talk to other moms. I learned a lot of great information just talking to other moms in my area who already have started breastfeeding, who have been through it before, and they kind of know a little bit about what they're doing. They have their own experiences to tell you. It's not just like, maybe that's what happens, maybe this is my opinion. It's like, no, girl, I went through this and this is how it was for me. That's why taking those classes is great, because you can honestly meet some really great moms who have been through this before. Number 8 is going to be to keep up on your cleaning and sanitation of all of your parts and pieces. This includes bottles, nipples, your pumping bottles that you pump into, and all of the pieces that you use on your pump. You want to regularly clean them after each use, and you also want to sanitize them every so often. I'm not an expert by any means, you guys, so this is some things that you're gonna kind of want to do your research on and to know your facts on, and it may be different based on the equipment that you're using, but it is definitely something that you don't want to miss out on or skip out on. It is a necessity. Now, I know some moms pump at work. A lot of moms do, actually. Sometimes you're on the go and you just need a quick fix. So Medela actually makes some wipes and a bag that you can use in the microwave to clean. So the wipes, you just kind of wipe everything out whenever you are finished pumping. If you aren't able to actually soak it in soapy water and get it really clean that way, you can wipe it out with the wipe and then stick those pieces in this little bag. I'm like pretending to show you like I have one here. But it's a little microwave bag, and you stick the pieces in there with a little bit of water. You microwave it based on the type of microwave you have, and that is equivalent to boiling your pieces. Now that is something that you would do while you're at work or away from home, but you still want to do the actual cleaning at home. Tip number 10 is the amount of milk that you get out in a pump is not, I repeat, not equivalent to the amount of milk that your baby gets when they nurse. So actually, I don't know like the science behind it. All I know is that when a baby is to your breast, they are able to get more milk out than a pump is. I don't know if it's the suction or just some weird chemistry that your body knows this is the baby, but it is true. And if you don't believe me, talk to your doctor because it is true. I really struggled with this in the beginning. I wasn't getting a whole lot out when I was pumping, as I was using a hand pump to express my milk instead of an electric pump. That we will come to later because that is not a good idea if you're gonna be full-time pumping. But I wasn't getting very much out, and I was kind of worried, like, is Kingston not getting enough to eat? So what you really have to do to know if your baby is getting enough is gauge it by the wet and dirty diapers and how they're meeting their weight and growth requirements when they're at the doctor. Don't base it off of how much milk you're getting when you pump out. I was really worried about this, and I reached out to some mom friends and a lactation consultant, and I was informed by all of those people that that is not how that works at all. So I had a 10-pound baby by 1 month old, so clearly he was meeting those growth requirements, and he has plenty of wet diapers. I oftentimes call him Pissy Kingston, so I knew he was getting everything he needed, and it wasn't a concern for me after I realized that those are not good ways to measure by basing it off of what you get out in the pump. Tip number 11 is to be open to donor milk. If you go through a time where your supply isn't covering what you need, but you don't want to switch to formula, or you're not able to switch to formula, then be open to taking donor milk. I tried formula with Kingston, like I said, 3 different times, 3 different formulas. None of them worked. And instead of going through all the trouble and all the pain he would have to endure to find the formula that fit, I reached out to a mom that I knew and trusted who breastfed, and I knew her milk was good and clean and ready to go. I really did trust her. So you want to make sure it's someone that you trust, or go through a donor organization to where it is regulated and you know you're not going to get anything funky. But be open to it, you guys. I didn't spend nearly as much going through a friend that I knew as you would if you go through an organization, but it is still so worth it because I was able to continue to pump through those times when he had that milk and kind of gain our supply up, as well as I didn't have to switch to formula, and we were able to stick to this. So she really got me through a time of need, and I'm always going to be grateful for her for that. And I am now able to create my own supply, but if I wouldn't have had that backup, I wouldn't be able to. So be open to that. Most mothers, when it comes to the health of a baby, are going to put the health of the baby first. So never feel ashamed to have to reach out to other mothers for that breast milk, or to reach out to a donor organization. Your baby's health is what comes first, and most mothers, like I said, are going to be understanding of that. That brings me to my next tip, which is never compare yourself to other mothers. While I tell you to reach out to other mothers and talk to them about their experiences, don't take that as you are less than or your child is less than. Use those experiences and add to your life and your baby's routine what you can from it, and you can also inform them. If they have some misguided information, inform those mothers and make them better mothers. But never compare yourself. Every baby is different, every mother is different, and there is no way the two situations could be the same. The home life is different, the jobs are different, the daycares and the babysitters are different. So there's all these variables that go into how the baby's going to react to all of those things. So you never want to compare yourself. Just take the advice that you can and inform them when you can. I personally really struggled with this through our last babysitter. She babysat her own granddaughter, who was a very well-behaved baby, if that's even a thing. You guys, babies cry, babies go through things, and her granddaughter was one of those very easygoing babies, didn't have much trouble. And Kingston, on the other hand, is going through thrush. He's a little bit colicky and suffers from separation anxiety because he's been at home with his mom and his dad for most of his life. So he can be a little bit fussy sometimes. He just has his way with things, and we've kind of given him his way with things. He's a little bit spoiled, if I do say so myself, but I love him, and he's a great baby, and I wouldn't trade him for the world. It wasn't a great fit with this babysitter, and I could have, took that as beat myself up. What have I done wrong as a mother? Beat my son up. What is wrong with my baby? Why is he not as good as this other baby? But instead, I just took it as, hey, it wasn't a fit between the two of them. I took her advice on some suggestions that she gave me to help his colickiness. And I also informed her, like, hey, he's going through some stuff and it just probably wasn't a good fit. And we moved on. No hard feelings. You don't have to make it a big deal. Just take what you can, give what you can, and move on. That being said, it can be really hard and you can beat yourself up sometimes. I went through a really rough time with breastfeeding where I mentally felt so exhausted. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I couldn't get anything done. And it was hard not to feel the resentment for Kingston because it's like, he's a baby. I love him dearly. He's perfect. He's the best thing in my life. He doesn't mean to cause me so much stress. And it was just like, oh my goodness, is this ever going to get better? What did I get myself into? We should have just did formula. Just all of these thoughts that run through your head and you kind of beat yourself up because in the moment you're dealing with those postpartum emotions and your hormones are changing and it's just stressful. It's all of this stuff that goes into it. So make sure that you're able to take time for yourself. Whatever you have to do to make that happen, do it. You are important, and it is important to make sure that you're at a good mental capacity to be there for your child. So take those moments for yourself, reward yourself, tell yourself, this is amazing what you're doing and you should be proud of whatever supply you have. You should be proud of however long you were able to breastfeed. You should be proud of all of those things because it is amazing what us women are able to do. On the same topic, you also want to humble yourself a little bit and just be open to, like I said, not only those donations for milk, but just donations for babies in general. Just cut back on some of the stress in other areas, and by doing that, allow yourself to be open to all kinds of gifts. Whether people want to bring you food, they want to come over and clean for you, they want to come over and sit with the baby so you can shower, or even just like the hand-me-down clothes that they have from their babies. You can wash that stuff. Babies get stuff so messy, they grow so fast. So just kind of take a step back and just think, is it really that big of a deal what I'm making this about? Is it really that awful to ask for help sometimes or to accept those hand-me-down clothes or those donations? It's really, in retrospect, not. Through the Pregnancy Help Center, I was able to get a lot of stuff free, and I actually cut back a whole lot on what I spent brand new for Kingston. I had a friend who had a baby a few months before me, so I was able to take things from her son and buy those from her for a cheaper price. So just take those gifts into consideration, you guys, because cutting back on stress in other areas will allow you to put the energy and the focus into breastfeeding that you need. Next, I would tell you to just look into those other places that you can meet moms besides just classes. You can get on Facebook groups. I'm a part of one that is nationwide, and it's called the Single Moms Alliance. There's tons of women from tons of areas with tons of backgrounds and different experiences. They go on there and they share their stories and ask for other women's opinions. It's a great way if you need an opinion on something, but you don't want people you know to see that. You don't want them to know about your life. Well, these are women halfway across the country that you don't even know, and they may have been through an experience that will benefit you with their advice. I'm also a part of a mom group that is local, so these are women that I trust. This can come in handy in a different aspect when you're looking for recommendations and you want to make sure these are people that you trust because you know them and you know the type of person that they are. In that same regard, you can take what they've told you and disregard that because you know the type of person they are and you know that you don't trust them. So it's great to have a local one as well for those things that you need to know if you can trust that person. There are also apps like Peanut where it's kind of like a dating app for moms, but not. Does that make sense? It's like an app where you can meet different moms in your area. You can see their age, how many kids they have, and connect and maybe meet up and talk and do things virtually because COVID, whatever you have to do, but it's a great app to meet moms in your area. I also was a part of a breastfeeding group through my hospital where they would meet, have dinner, and then just talk about different breastfeeding topics, bounce ideas off each other. They brought their kids, and it was just a fun little couple of hours. So just find different ways that you can meet other women besides just going to classes. There's lots and tons of different ways, you guys. Just get out there and find it. Not only should you find other moms, but you should actually find a professional as well. So things like Whaley's Mommy and Me, that is through a pharmacy. I'm not sure if Whaley's is nationwide, but just reach out to your local pharmacies and see if they have a lactation consultant. You can also reach out to WIC, they have a lactation consultant, and your hospital should have one to you available at birth and even after. I have a great one in my community who answers emails, phone calls, texts. She comes to your house and does visits. She's really great with helping you make sure that your baby is latching correctly, that you're pumping correctly, all of those things, because all of it can have an effect on the amount of supply you're able to have built up. As for building your supply up, I would say that some things that helped is the fluid intake that you have. So you can just start with increasing your water intake. If you are a big water drinker, that should be easy for you. I don't personally drink a whole lot of water and I don't really care for water. I know that sounds weird, but like it's not my favorite go-to thing to drink. So I actually looked into Body Armor drinks. It's a sports drink, but they don't taste all salty like Gatorade. They actually have a great flavor to them. and those worked for me. They have coconut water in it. I think the coconut water is what does it. So you can even just get flavored coconut waters, but just increasing your fluid intake is very, very important. And staying away from caffeine drinks, that doesn't necessarily have a direct effect on the amount of supply, but it can have an effect on the gassiness of your baby. And like I said, cutting back on those things that stress you out, like a fussy baby who has an upset stomach, that would be a win. So cut back on caffeine, and dairy can also have an effect on your gassy baby if they don't digest dairy very well. Cut back on the amount of dairy intake. You also want to watch the food you eat. This can have a direct effect on their ability to catch thrush in their mouth and also just some gassiness. So things like cheese, bread, things with yeast in them, those can allow thrush to thrive in your baby or on your nipples. So cut back on those things a little bit, or just monitor how much you're eating of those things. A great food source is oats, anything oatmeals, things like that. There's some lactation cookies that are full of oatmeal, so those are great things to use as well. That will increase your supply, so look into those if you are looking to increase the supply. And the last piece of advice I have for you is to get out there and do your research. You can research all different topics like a great latch, how to pump, how to clean your pieces, how to avoid thrush, how to get your supply up. There is endless amounts of topics that you can research on breastfeeding, and you're never gonna know if you don't do the research. So read different articles, watch videos, talk to other mothers, talk to doctors and lactation consultants and WIC people and just everybody. It is never ever a bad idea to ask questions. Nothing is ever a stupid question. If you are in the best interest of your child and yourself and your all's health, then that is what you will do. I was able to find out that you can actually avoid ovarian cancer, breast cancers. It helps mothers lose weight after pregnancy a lot faster by breastfeeding. There's many health benefits for mothers and for babies. So look into all of that stuff, you guys. This has been an up and down experience for us, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like I said, we're 6 months in. That's 5 months further than I ever expected to go. And our little supply is thriving. We have anywhere from 3 to 6 bags in the freezer at a time. And I know that sounds like such a little amount, but for my family, it works. It allows us to have everything that we need at home for Kingston. I don't have to worry about, hey, can somebody come grab some milk that I just pumped for me at work and bring it to Kingston because he's out of milk? You know, we are comfortable with that amount. And so I would just say focus on your family's needs. Don't worry about the mom that's pumping 20 ounces over, or don't worry about the mom that's under pumping. All you can do is focus on your family and do your best with your family. If you're able to give advice out or help out to other mothers, do so. If you need some advice or help from other mothers, ask for it, you know? But just focus on your family. Eliminate all of those other extra stress factors in your life, you know? Cut back anywhere that you can so that you can really focus on this journey if it's something you want to do, because it does take dedication, it does take self-discipline, and it does take a little kick in the ass telling yourself like, girl, you're gonna do this because it's what's best for your family. That being said, I really don't have any other advice for you. I think that about covers it. If you guys would like me to go a little more in depth with my story on breastfeeding, then I can do that, but I thought I may just focus on the tips and tricks and advice that I have for you versus telling my story, because honestly, when you listen to somebody else's story, what you're really looking for is all the advice and tips that she has. Am I right? Am I right? I think I'm right. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, whatever time of day it is while you're watching this, girl. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you are having a wonderful 2020. I know it's been a rough start, and I know we're still battling all that crazy COVID stuff. But like I said, just eliminate those extra stress factors and focus on your little journey at home. Take advantage of this time at home with your munchkin and do what you can to grow your supply and just get in the swing of things. Once you get your own little routine, it'll be so easy breezy, you won't even think about it, girl. I'm telling you. Be sure to leave a comment down below with some advice for me or other mothers. You can also leave a comment down below just how your breastfeeding journey is gone or what you loved about this video. Just leave me a comment, girl. I love to read them. I love to interact with you guys. If you're not subscribed already, you need to do that now, because what are you doing? We're hella videos into this, and you need to be subscribed because we got good content, girl. That being said, I will see you guys in the next video. What's that? Just a one finger wave? Have you ever tried that? Let's make this a thing.